Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Bruce Starr, and I have a very special guest with me on today's show. Her name is Alyson Limehouse, and she has created and mastered an unusual and highly effective fitness program called Rollology. So I'd like to welcome her onto the show. Welcome, Alyson. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Bruce.
So as you can see, this is one of the tools that you use in Rollology.
Yeah, this is our master tool, if you want to call it that. It's a Rollology roller, and we use the letters as visual cueing points for alignment purposes.
So explain exactly what Rollology is.
Well, Rollology is a method of movement and an exercise, so to speak. But what we do is we help the client get into neutral spine, and then we work from there. In today's world, we are, you know, at the computer, texting, driving, even watching TV or on the YouTube, looking like this. And at a very young age, we're getting what's called tech neck, rounded shoulders. It's also called Dowager's hump, and all kinds of pain along the spine. So what we do is we use the roller to find your neutral spine and work from there. And then we also have our visual cues. So if somebody needs to be shoulder width apart, most people are not sure where that is and where their alignment is. But if I can say, put your hands on the O and the L, that would be it, instead of them just kind of guessing where it might be.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So usually when people come up with something unique and different and unusual, there's usually a story behind it. Do you have a story behind it?
Yeah, I guess I do. I have created a Pilates. I founded a Pilates studio on Palm Beach Island in 2002, and as I was working there, I joined a certification or a training with Lolita San Miguel. Lolita is somebody who worked directly with Joe Pilates. So I was in Pilates land. I had my studio on Palm Beach. I was working a lot, and my studio was small. It was very inclusive, and I did use just regular old white old foam rollers, and I would buy them and sell them to my clients. And at that same time, I was introduced to Lolita, who worked directly with Joe Pilates. She had training. I was invited. I was in her group A. Very nice, very prestigious. And when I went to go teach, there was a group of 12 of us, and they were from all over the world. And I was used to training one or two people at a time. So when I went to go teach the 12, I sucked. I was terrible. And she's a prima ballerina, and she just like get out of my face, kind of. And so she said, you got to start teaching mat class. You got to start teaching a small group or a little group. And so I went to a dance studio in West Palm Beach, and I started doing a Pilates mat class. And I got very bored very quickly, but I had a good group of women and guys. It was probably, we probably averaged around 10 or 15, and students or participants. And one day I just brought in a box of rollers. So this was like 15 years ago. And I brought in a box of rollers, sold the clients their rollers, and they would bring in their rollers, and we would do kind of this Pilates Rollology fusion class, I guess you would call it. And then so that's kind of how it started originally. And then I was realizing, because I was certifying instructors in Pilates, and that's a good 3 years, 2 years, 500 or plus hours. And we're talking $10,000, $20,000, maybe even 30 now, to get through it. And I wanted something where because I make a lot of money for what I do. I just do, and I always have. But as a single mom, I always struggle. And so I wanted to bring in something where the instructors can bring in extra money, because they sell the rollers to their clients, and then the clients can do this at home. They can do it online. They can do it in a class with the instructor, and we have workshops. We have all kinds of fun stuff for them to do, the instructors to do. And and so what I was trying to do was formulate something that where you can become an instructor or add more money to your already existing business. So it was kind of twofold when I was doing it. It was for the client and for the instructor. And it's also for somebody who is thinking about doing yoga, thinking about doing Pilates, thinking about doing whatever. And this could be a good introduction in as well. So it can be a complement for your client, for your existing business. It could be a gateway in. But what it does do, it teaches your body, your client's body, on how to kind of detect yourself, and get back into your neutral spine. So your chest is open, you're sitting up tall, you're not here all the time. We forget that, and I catch myself all the time, especially driving, and I go to a stoplight and I correct myself because I'm like, all right, I'm all straight. And the next thing I know, I'm like a witch, over the steering, and we all do it. It's horrible. And I wish that somebody would just come along and wave a magic wand across the world and change all these things that we do, like seats in the car, the seats in the airplane, the devices we use, so that they're friendly to our bodies. In the meantime, we have to work out at it, and keep counter our bodies off of it. So when I started this business, it was kind of twofold. It was for the clients, for the instructors, and it kind of was prompted by Lolita San Miguel. So she is what we call a Pilates elder. She worked directly with Joe Pilates, and Joe died in 1967. Lolita is now 88.
Wow. So I know you just explained who can benefit, because this is really a two-tiered program that we're talking about. We're talking about you being able to teach others to do it. And then we're talking about reaching people who need Rollology. So who can benefit from Rollology?
Well, anybody who has a computer or a cell phone that they text, or anybody who drives.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that we covered that.
Yeah. So I would say anybody and everybody, unless you're just some kind of person that is out in the wild, and you don't have any of these devices, and you're just living a normal life, but that's not normal.
Okay. So how can I take a class?
We have rollologists all over the United States. They do it in person and or online, and I do it online. You can go to RollologyFitness.com and get a hold of somebody there. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then you would buy a roller. They're $69. And we would ship it to you or give it to you, depending on your location. And then you can start the classes.
And if I wanted to become an instructor, would I work under you, or explain how that can happen?
But we have a really wonderful community of rollologists. We call ourselves licensed rollologists. And like, for example, tonight we have a guest speaker who is from New Jersey, and she teaches people on the spectrum, and that's a growing population. There's a plane going over. I'm sorry.
Can't hear you. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So anyway, so she's coming on tonight, and it's a free lecture for all the rollologists. And anyway, so you get support from our group, and we train you, we get you rolling, so to speak, pun intended. And then you're kind of off on your own, but we all are, there's always a place for us to gather online and discuss, share, things like that. We had a lady on last month that talked about the pelvic floor. She was from the UK. She's in London, Claire Sparrow. She has a wonderful program for women with their pelvic floor and men as well. And then, like I said, tonight we have somebody who's going to be discussing working with people with the that's neurodiverse, meaning autism and people on the spectrum. What I think in 10 years, 1 in 20 people will be diagnosed with that. Also, next month, we do something with a woman who is a specialist with diatistic recti. And that's the splitting of the abs when you move incorrectly and do stupid stuff. And sometimes it just happens if you are pregnant and things like that, but the abs split open, and she's going to talk to us about the do's and don'ts with that. So we have like this ongoing community that happens after you become a licensed rollologist. When you become a licensed rollologist, it's basically, depending on what program you're in, it's a week or a weekend, and then you just have to practice, and we make sure everybody's up to snuff, and you go out there and help others and make money.
Wow. So
Yeah.
is it safe? Is it for everyone, or what do people have to watch out for?
Well, let's see. Well, some people cannot get on and off of the floor, so we work them in the chair, and that works really well. And then sometimes when we have people on the floor, they might fall off the roller, but it's just 6 inches, so it's not the end of the world. It's more their ego that gets hurt, And I just, usually they just get back on, and we make a little joke, and they're okay.
So really anybody could do it. They just need to be willing to, because I know you came here the other day and you work with Lauren, and it was very interesting to watch. So is there anyone who shouldn't do it?
Well, the deal is, you can hurt yourself doing just about anything. But if you have an instructor teaching you rollology, I don't think you will hurt yourself unless the rollologist that's teaching you does something that they're not supposed to. But, I do have people come up to me about roller crap. I don't want to say crap, roller stuff where they've hurt themselves, or they've broken all the blood vessels in their back. They've herniated a disc, bulged a disc, all kinds of stuff can happen. But when you do the rollology with the rules we have, it will not happen. It's almost, it's ingrained in me to the point that it's common sense. And I see, what I see on Instagram is just crazy and nuts what people do, with a roller. I don't do anything with a tire tread, that goes up into places that you shouldn't go. And they always talk about foam rolling and myofascial release. Myofascial release was coined by Ida Rolf. She was a rolfer, and she went in there and she goes in the body and organizes the muscles through the myofascia. That is not that's myofascial release. Rolling on a foam roller it's not the same thing. People call it myofascial release, but I call it might have an effect, but it's a little risky. And also, you don't you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're feeling until the next day. Sometimes, you could be really causing some pretty major damage.
So many people have neck problems, back problems, hip problems, shoulder pain. Uh, Obviously, something like this can help it. How can it help it?
So, I was with a 22-year-old guy today, and his hip is up from golf. His shoulders are forward from you know being on the computer, and I just sent him about 4 or 5 exercises to do and online, and he has his Rollology roller, and he's going to start tonight, and it's just going to um you know he's got a set of exercises for his hip and for his shoulders, and so he's a good example of somebody it's going to help him. He just needs to take a few minutes out of his day at the morning and evening before he goes to bed and do them. In fact, we have a workshop that we're going to be doing called Sunrise Sunset, and the instructors, the rollologists, will conduct it wherever they are in their studio, or their gym, wherever they may be, and they or sometimes doctors' offices, and every client will get a Rollology roller, and they'll get a template and a video on a 5-minute routine that they do before they go to bed and when they wake up. Because what happens when we go to bed at the end of the day, we're all stressed out, we're all tight from being driving or at the computer and stuff. And so we unwind the body, roll it out, so to speak, and it's very safe. And it's about 5 minutes before you go to bed. And then when you get up, there's another routine, a little bit different for when you get up, because sometimes we sleep funky. I know I do. I've woken up many a times and like, oh gosh, why didn't I turn over, or that kind of thing. And it's just very, I wake up in all kinds of funky positions sometimes, and it's like, oh great. But if I do the rollers in the morning, my chances of that carrying with me the rest of the day are greatly decreased. It's not, I don't have to feel that if I attack it earlier or address it early in the day.
Great. So, can Rollology at times be an answer or another choice to surgery?
I think it can prevent surgery. I've had a lot of clients when I own my Pilates studio, and this could be true for Pilates, Rollology, yoga, gyrotonics. There's something called I never can say it, gyrokinesis. So I've had clients come in for the first time, and either through me or they've come in saying that they had to have back surgery or neck surgery or hip surgery or some kind of surgery, and they did Pilates or they did gyrotonics or they did Rollology. They would have started with me, but we can avoid the surgeries. But I've just had several people come in and say I avoided surgery by doing these movements. And the same can be said with Rollology. The thing that's different with Rollology is that it's more for today's body, to open up the shoulders, to align and get, instead of being here, we want you to be naturally, here, not here. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure. I just pushed my shoulders back as I was listening to you.
Yeah. And you kind of don't want to push them back. Like I always say, like a woman in Palm Beach that just got a new boob job, they kind of do this, So I say for a man, I'll do the man and I'll do the woman. So I'll do them together. So it's like my cues are sit like you're sitting on a hot roof of a car. So you want to pull all your fleshy parts up. So you if you're here and you're on a hot roof of a car, you're not going to sit like this. You're going to kind of get, you don't want any of your skin to touch that hot roof of a car. So you pull everything up, and then you're going to balance on your sit bones. So if you're going to feel if your weight's there or over here. So you want to balance it, hot roof of a car, pull everything up. Then we do something called the wind zip, where you pretend like you want to pass gas and you pull up your sphincter muscle. And then we do a Kegel. So women know what Kegels are. It's like pulling the vagina muscles in and up. We do release them. But for men, it's like if you're going into a cold ocean, the boys go up. So that's the feeling you want to have. And then you want to wrap your muscles around your spine. Like you just really pull them around, pull your ribs up away from your hips. So you want to pull those up, wrap the muscles around the spine. And for men, you want to think about having on a tight vest. You want to pull your ribs in super tight. For women, think of a tight corset. For men, tall collar. For women, long earrings and string from head. So my shoulders are more here, not here, and they're not here. Does that make sense?
It sure does. Absolutely fascinating. What great work that you're doing. Alyson, if people want to find you, locate you, you have a website, social media, places where they can contact you?
Yeah, RollologyFitness.com, Rollology on Instagram, Rollology on Facebook, Rollology on TikTok.
Excellent. And is there anything else you'd like to let us know about before we're done today?
Not really. Just this works. We're in a posture pandemic. It's very important, if you don't do Rollology, to find something that gets you in your personal neutral spine. There are a lot of people out there that teach that do not know what they're doing. You want to make sure that somebody's credentials are good. Nothing should hurt when you're working out. That old thing, no pain, no gain. That's just BS. That's just, I don't know what that was, but that's just causing damage to your body. So what I tell people, if it hurts, don't do it. And if that little voice in the back of your head is saying, don't do it, don't do it. We'll do it another time. If you're with me, we do it another time. I listen to that little voice in the back of somebody's head. And whoever you're taking a class from, whatever the personal training, whatever it is, if it, really listen to your body, and you can listen to them. And like, if somebody says, that doesn't feel good, or that hurts, and I'm like, why? And then I try and figure out if it's something that we should proceed on with or not. And so like, if it's something like, oh, that hurts. And I'm like, what hurts? And they're like, well, my quadricep. And I'm like, well, you're using it. That's all that is. But it's not like the back, there's certain things that are alarm bells for a good instructor that the instructor should know to keep you from moving forward with. But you are your best radar. I'm not in your body, you're not my body. And so if it's really not feeling well, you have to articulate that to whoever is working with you.
Fantastic. Alyson Limehouse, you've come up with this creative and unusual, highly effective fitness program called Rollology. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. And you're doing great work. I'm sure over the years, you've helped many, many people. And I hope many people contact you so that you can help them as well. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, I teach online, and then if I'm not the right fit, there are several other licensed rollologists all over the United States.